Wait, did it just get weird? No. It's okay?
I can't hear me.
That thing that just happens where it's like all of a sudden I have a shift. Where it's like, I'm living in this frequency. And then it goes, something like washes through me and then I'm like,
that happens to me all the time.
And then I keep expecting it to go back and it never goes back. I'm just like in this new frequency.
And you get used to it.
Yeah. Or just, it's like there's a pitch to like life.
Yeah.
And you don't even notice it until it shifts. And then you're like just living in this new pitch and it never shifts back. You just get acclimated to it like almost immediately.
Like, why did that happen?
Yeah, because it's very distinct.
I've gotten freaked out about it. I'm like, is this a stroke? Is this what a stroke is? But it's happened to me so much.
Yeah, I get freaked out about it too because I'm like waiting for it to switch back and then it never does. And I'm like, well, I guess I just get used to living life. And because it's so, when you hear it happen, when you hear it switch, the switch sounds so dramatic.
Yeah, it sounds like the treble got turned all the way down and like some high-pitched frequency came in.
Yeah. Or the opposite, or all of a sudden it's like lower.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's almost like the opposite of like, have you ever had the opposite when your ear just like clears out of nowhere and you're like, holy shit, how long was I living like that? You know, like where your ears like just like
pops or something.
just like pops and you're like, what? Oh my God, I was missing out on life.
Yeah, I think that one day I'll gift you a true ear cleaning.
Yeah, I don't think it'll do anything.
I don't know, but what if it does? What if it does everything?
Trust me, that's my dream. That's my dream.
What if it does?
It's kind of why I had to give up Q-tips, is because it's just like
you're just pushing it in.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm fucking around trying to clear something out. I'm probably making it worse.
Right.
But whatever that thing is that happens, there's probably a name for it. If there is, drop it in the comments. But like, that freaks me the fuck out. It's one of those things that'll happen mid-conversation with somebody, and I'll be like, I'll just get like lost in the sauce.
Like, yeah, because it doesn't happen to anyone else at the same time.
No.
Just like,
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Very weird.
Well, you just all of a sudden you were reminded of how subjective your experience is, and that you might be having a totally different experience than someone else. You're like, oh, nothing changed in my outer reality, and now I'm just kind of living at a different pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's fucked up.
Fucked up.
Shit, man.
When I was a kid, I used to have this thing where everything would speed up on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it sounded like people were talking, like even how I'm talking right now, like almost in 2 times speed or 1.5.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't like slow it down. I don't know what that was, but I'd have like a moment where everything was the opposite of what great athletes have.
Or things where they can like slow things
where everything
down
happens in slow motion. I'd get the opposite, where everything would be like kind of unnerving because it would sound like everything was happening in 1.5 speed. Like, why does everything feel so...
It's probably some sort of like
fast.
Social anxiety or something.
Yeah. It would almost feel like skipping frames too. Like it's just like...
Damn. You need to calibrate your system.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that doesn't happen at that really anymore. It happened like once, like a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, I still have that thing.
Yes. You're telling me about this stuff now. You're making me freaky deaky.
Do you have things like that? Like where it slows down or speeds up on you?
No. I'll catch a wave of confusion.
Wave of confusion? That's good.
Yeah, when I've done too many drugs, you know. It's usually drug interactions. I don't usually get confused in my day-to-day. I don't think I'm smart enough to get confused. I'm just like kind of going with the flow. I don't think I have a lot of... because I experienced this weekend, which we'll talk about. But like the flood and avalanche of thoughts, the tornado of thoughts, you know, that you hear people talk about. Like, I think I got that pretty kind of quieted down. I think you'd be pretty surprised that there's not like tons of shit just like swirling around my head at any given time.
Yeah, you don't really... I'm the one who looks lost in thought.
Less and less so.
Less and less so.
It was happening a bunch this weekend, and I'm like, it just happened right before we hit start on this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I know we're both in a great mood. We feel good. We did everything we need to do to get here. And then I'm like, what is up with you? You looked lost in the sauce, and you're like, my back hurts. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think I was like, we were fucking around.
I know. I remember.
And I was like, lifted you up. And I was like, it was kind of hard, but I like did it. I was like, okay, I just like did this. And ever since then, I've had like a kind of a stabbing pain going through my back.
Damn.
But it's okay. But it's fine. Except sometimes I feel like I look like a little miserable, and it's more like it's just when you're just like dealing with something. You're like, I'm just like a
All
little
weekend, I'm like,
distracted.
who are you worried about? Who are
Like-
you worried about, girl?
I'm like
What do you
barely
think about?
worried. I'm just like dealing with a low grade pain.
Yeah, you're like nothing, nobody. Yeah.
No, I really feel for people who have like chronic pain and
Mm-hmm.
or stomach issues or
Yeah.
chronic headaches or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like it's very distracting. You don't even realize that it's distracting. You're just kind of like it's taking up space.
I've dealt with all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stomach pain was like till I was like 29 years old. Headaches have been in the past like maybe 5 or 6 years. You've kind of seen those come around where it's like I could convince myself at any given time that I have like a low grade migraine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucked up.
Wait, your head's in that much pain that often?
Depends. If I really think about it. It usually has something to do, I think, with dehydration, because what's helped a lot is salt pills. There's no amount of Motrin or Tylenol or Advil or anything that ever does anything for my head. It's usually salt pills.
You don't take enough mushrooms.
I don't take enough mushrooms. I fuck around too much with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mushrooms are like, hey,
Yeah.
you need to connect some things.
No, I know you're joking, but you're right. I don't take enough mushrooms. It should be a big part of any balanced psychedelic diet, I think. And it's easy for motherfuckers like us to be like, "Oh, I prefer acid," but it's a whole different thing. But we survived space camp.
Wait, before we talk about space camp, because we haven't been on here in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't been on here in a while.
I was thinking about, I wanted to just say how fun your 43rd birthday was. And
My 43rd birthday.
we went to NoFX.
Oh my God. Yeah, we totally wouldn't have talked about that. That's so funny. Yeah.
Because I had such a good time. You're like one of your favorite bands and has become one of my favorite bands. Was performing their last show in New York.
NoFX. NoFX.
Yeah. And we went with a bunch of our friends, your old friends. And
Old friends.
go way back.
We've all been listening to this band together since 1998.
That's a long time.
Yeah. 26
years?
Yeah, probably even earlier than that. But that's when I can remember us all like, let's go see NoFX, So we've been loving and seeing this band together fucking forever.
I loved it because we were just like having a great time grooving, and I was like, you want to get up there? And you were like, no, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in the crowd. And your cousin Jesse comes up and he's like, it's so chill up here. Like, you guys got to come up.
We shouldn't have trusted him. Like basically like we're
What
at
do you
like
mean?
we're at like the back side of the pit. And it was like one of those shows where it's like I was just like I didn't catch the groove right out of the gate, and I don't know, something about it, like maybe we were socializing too much, maybe it was I don't know, it was my birthday. There was a lot of people I was seeing literally for the first time in 20 years, some of these people. And the band is playing and I'm like just like kind of standing there watching them. And my cousin just disappeared and he came back like halfway through the show, drenched, like, dude, it's so much more fun, like 20 feet away from where you guys are. And we were like, all right. And I fucking danced my ass off the rest of the show. I had the best fucking night
I feel
of my
like
life.
we know this from when we were at that same venue watching Descendants a month or so ago. And it just, I think the big takeaway for me is that if you're not having a great time, go closer to the fire. You know what I mean?
Especially at a punk show.
Yeah, especially at a punk show, because you're like, okay, this is cool. I'm enjoying. I mean, I was having a great time, but like, you went from having like a good time and enjoying yourself to like having
an
ecstatic experience.
Yeah.
Where you were like, I didn't really want to get totally in it because I was just like, I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
I got in there. I did a few rounds around
Yeah.
and almost lost my shoe, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I got someone's beer in my mouth, I was just like, okay.
It's so funny because the album they were playing is So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I knew I was going to lose my shoe. But it's like, you think And then I felt that experience pretty much anytime I go to a show where you're like, okay, I don't know, I'm having an okay time. And it's like, if you're having an okay time at a live music show, try
It's on you.
going. Well, also try going 20 feet closer and checking out how your time is then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that like every 10 to 20 feet you get closer, you're having a totally different experience
The
because
sonic experience is completely different.
you get sonically immersed
Yeah.
the closer you are to live music. And so, and the more sonically immersed you are, the less you can think and the more you're just there.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why we consider music the sacrament and going to live music church and everything. But sometimes you don't want to be in the pews at church in the way back. You want to be like up there with getting the pastor spit on you or whatever.
You want to be up there with the altar boys.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so I kind of felt that. And I love seeing you go around. I don't know, there was like a 25-minute song or something.
Yeah. That was, I mean, it's part of the reason I was kind of like chilling at the beginning of the show because they had announced before they came to town what albums they were going to play. And one of the things that they were going to play is this song called The Decline, which is like an 18-minute epic song. And I figured that once The Decline came on, that's my time. That's all my training is going to pay off for that. And that's what happened.
Yeah, you were drenched.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nice. And I think
completely hot yoga, out of my mind, going in a swirl, a nonstop, out of control, fast running. You're running around in a circle and people are coming and pushing you. And if you even hesitate for a second, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're absolutely fucked. So I just got in there, started dancing, and every single time I went around, I tried to pull you in. Every time I was like, come on.
I was like, I'm cool. I love my life.
I didn't know you were cool. I was like, I thought you were waiting for an opportunity to jump in. And I was just like, come on. Yeah, come on. Kept going around. And then like buddies I literally haven't seen in 10 years are like hitting me on the back in the pit. Like, yo, what up? And like homies I haven't seen in 20 years were at this show. Like it was a damn high school reunion. It was so goddamn fun. You and I are doing bumps of ketamine. We were going crazy in there.
It was a wild night.
It was a
I do
fucking
think
wild and reckless night.
There's something so cathartic, and that I'm not saying I didn't need it. I'm not trying to separate myself, but like I feel like you really needed that in that moment, and you didn't even realize. Like, and everyone there probably did. Like the cathartic man sweat mesh up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's something about being like really connected and getting close and being like in a mesh of human
where you're all friends, everyone's looking out for each other. Like you're in, I mean, it feels like violence, but it's not.
I got worried about you for a second, and then I realized if he fell, people would pick him up. So it's like, what do I?
Don't worry about me falling as much as like losing. I wouldn't like. I'm an idiot. I wasn't prepared to dance for like 40 minutes straight like I did. Like I was not prepared for that. My pockets were bulging with drugs and my keys and like. I just didn't prepare. I was just wearing my Doc Martens. They weren't barely even laced up. I had my glasses on. Like so many other things could have gone wrong. Me falling, like that's kind of par for the course.
Yeah.
You know, but it was incredible, like amazing time that I didn't even like you're saying. I didn't realize I needed until I was doing it, and then I felt bummed for my friends that didn't fully get in the pit because it's just like, y'all, this band is ending. No Effects is ending tonight. You know, and that's just not for us. Like something else is like there's an end of an era happening here, and you could see it. Like, you know, like the people that were in the pit, like dancing, like you could tell, like we all were cognizant of like, let's get it in. I don't know. The last time I saw you, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but we're going to dance.
50, 60 years old.
Yeah, we're fucking old motherfuckers, man. Most of them
I
have
see
kids.
people like taking photos, but like their screen is like their kid. You know, it's it's so different. And that's the other thing I thought of, like being in the pit. And when I went around a couple times, I'm like, I've gone to some shows that are so violent and like people are looking to hurt each other. And I'm like, people are looking to go home to their kid without a bloody nose at this one. Yeah.
I mean, well, because I think your really early experience with mosh pits was in the metal scene. That was before we met.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different thing. I'm not even gonna knock that scene. Like they probably have their own rules and regulations and ways of like looking out for each other, but it's scary when people are doing that kind of stuff, and like that overlaps into the hardcore scene a little bit. But at No Effects, Descendants, Circle Jerks, like these kind of shows, like it's mainly gonna be people in a circle pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's amazing.
I wish I had better words for what it does for guys and why, in like this modern disconnected society, why you need to.
It's primal.
Yeah, that primal. Like it's like wrestling.
It's apes dancing together and slipping off of each other, and like I had no shirt on by the end of the night.
And there's probably something about like exchanging all that sweat, like in a platonic, non-sexual way, you know, of like.
And to get rough with each other, but also in a trusting environment. Like, I don't know you. I'm going to be super rough with you right now. We're going to be all like, you know, like people kept, because I'm tall, people kept like using me to jump up further into the crowd or what is it called again? Crowd surf. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like, you know, like everyone serves their roles in there.
You were just like, I saw you just kept going around like.
Yeah, well, like, I would try to get like some silly dance moves in when I could.
I was hoping you weren't doing double toe touches, but.
Well, that used to be my move, but I was too scared to do it. I thought I was going to lose one of my boots.
Yeah.
I still got it. I actually probably got it more than ever.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to show up my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I didn't double toe touch.
Totally.
But that's my signature move in the pit. Some people are picking up the change. You know, some people are fucking spinning pizzas or fucking Flintstone flopping. There's so many moves you can do, but for me it was double toe touch. You know,
there wasn't enough room for a double toe touch in this one.
No, it was a sea of madness, and it was fucking incredible and cathartic, and like a reunion with all my boys. And it's like that night made me be like, I'm so glad my birthday's in the middle of July. You know, that it's just like a perfect summer night, and everyone was like, fuck the kids, man. Let's get a babysitter. Let's go fucking get out and get fucked up. And like, all my friends who normally bail on shit or don't go at all or go home early or whatever, hung out all fucking night.
Yeah, it was
very chill.
Great time.
And I turned 43.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I've been thinking you were 43 all year, so it wasn't a big surprise to me.
That's fine.
I get confused.
It doesn't matter.
In my mind, you gained a year.
It doesn't. None of it matters. It doesn't matter what the number is. You know what I mean? That's for somebody else. Like for me, I'm just some dude. I don't know. I'm just an experience going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And like the whole thing is like trying to be present, and like that. I was very good at it that night. I was really good about like, man, I'm with my friends. This is fucking awesome. These are the old homies getting together, and knowing that 2 days later we were going to be at space camp with like the next generation, the new class, the new homies, people that I either don't know or barely know, was going to be like the next week of our life. So it was really good to just indulge in like the back home homie vibes. Everyone at their finest. Nobody fighting with each other or anything. You know I'm sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's party month.
Party month in full effect. It's still going.
It's still going.
But we went straight from there into space camp.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been talking about it on the podcast, so if you listen to earlier episodes than this, we were building up to space camp, which is an event that we've done a few times.
We should have built up to it more. Like we're such bad at promoting stuff, but it's kind of cool because if you found that needle in the haystack of all of our podcasts, if you heard us mention it, it means you were listening to a lot of episodes and listening deep, because I don't feel like we talked about it that much.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't looking for it to be a huge experience. I wanted it to be like an intimate experience. So that was kind of intentional in my mind.
Between like 10 and 30 people to show up. Because more than that, it would just be like, I can't. I don't know. We can't all, you know.
Yeah. No, it went great. And talk about, I don't know, I feel that for us, as much as it's kind of brave of people to come, it was brave of us to go. You know what I mean?
I didn't think about that till after.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, all right, packing up, another day at the office. My life is a party. I'm going to do more partying. And, yeah, so many fucking people. That is such a brave thing. I really have to commend, and we'll talk more on the
Afterglow.
We'll talk more on the Afterglow on the Patreon.
We'll be more specific.
We'll be a little bit more specific and fun about it. But I just want to shout out the people that showed up solo dolo to that. And there's not only people that showed up solo, they had never been to a festival before.
Yeah.
And not only had they showed up solo and never been to a festival before, they've maybe never camped before.
Mm-hmm.
And then add to that drugs. I mean, maybe they have never taken drugs before. And they showed up. And yeah, God, the homies came out in full force. I mean, first and foremost, I just need to shout out. This is not what I'm going to spend this episode doing because it means nothing to anyone except the person, but I have to shout out Maddie and Griff. Our deepest homies from Pittsburgh, and we've known Maddie forever in Brooklyn, and they met at Nelson Ledges a couple years ago when we did one of these, and they've been together as a couple ever since, and they really inspired us to be brave enough to try this one. So,
Yeah, no, Griff got us to come out to Nelson Ledges in the first place.
Yeah.
And it was just so incredible, and yeah, I felt it was great.
Just want to give a nice, just pure shout out to those homies, like some besties for life. And yeah, that was like, I feel like the first of many like kind of iterations of stuff we'll try to do in collaboration with them. But they held it down. Yeah,
I like that you don't know what it's gonna be. I'm kind of in this phase of not trying too hard, you know? Like I usually like before an event or leading into something will buy every possible thing I could possibly need. And this time I'm like, I didn't even double check things. I just was like, all right, we got some camping gear. Like, let's get out there. We'll figure it out.
Like, we've done this before. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it was like a low key because I wanted to be low key, and I was like, well, I have to start with me being low key. And that's all I really had the capacity for this time is like, I just want to have a low key. Like, what do I want? I want to camp and meet new people and have a great time. Like, do I need to buy every possible iteration of everything in order to make sure we have a good time? I'm like, no. That's what's so cool also about Nelson Ledges is like, like the whole thing holds you. It's like a beautiful campgrounds, beautiful quarry, awesome shakedown street, great food, very beautiful chill music. Beautiful people, safe, good vibes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blast.
I think going into this and even agreeing to do it, we had to learn from like our past. And like I don't know, to me doing these things is such like an essential part of our life and how to build community and find new friends, and like it's just like a charging station. And I think that's what everyone gets out of it. But we weren't getting that out of it when we would host them in the past, because I think we were putting ourselves out there too much in the hosting duties. You especially, you know, you would go 3 days barely eating or taking care of yourself or not sleeping. And
yeah, this time I'm like, I went to bed one night and I was like, I'm just going to bed. What the no one needs me. I'm going to bed.
It was fucking 2 a.m. What, why did you feel weird? You know,
I didn't feel weird.
Okay,
I didn't feel
there's
weird.
no reason to.
I just go to bed.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the beautiful thing, and it's harder to do that when we're hosting it at someone's house and it's a much more intimate thing. You know, there was thousands of people around. It's like, cool, yeah, we had a fun day. If you want to keep the night going, keep the night going. If you're hungry, go get some food. I don't know. You being responsible for that in the past, I think, hasn't allowed it to hit in a way that would really rejuvenate our life the way I think this one did.
Yeah, well, it's also like my own fault because people don't need me waking up 6 o'clock in the morning to make sure they have breakfast, but I put that on myself. You know what I mean? And certain things I put on myself. And I just am in a better place generally.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I think a lot of times we'll go into events where we have I don't know if you call it a merkaba, but like we went into this and we didn't even know exactly who we'd be camping with. Usually like we had our girlfriend Mare or our bestie Joey, and this time it's like we're showing up just like you guys are showing up.
Pretty much.
And I really
we had Maddie and Griff, but they were in a separate campsite. They had reserved a thing, so like we couldn't even cling to them the way we normally would think we would have to.
And we could have reserved a thing, but I was like, I don't even want to make people feel like they need to commit, you know, by buying a ticket. And that I'm glad I did that because a lot of people who were originally going to come didn't end up coming, and then a lot of people who weren't planning to come did come.
Yeah.
So it felt like, I don't know if it's this time space that is right now that like commitment wasn't the vibe.
It wasn't.
And so we got really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt very much like a Trustfall of like, where are we going to end up camping? Who are we going to camp with? How's it going to go? You know? But I don't know. I just really trust that you get what you need sometimes. Or what you just get what's perfect. It's all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep having this perfect faith, and it keeps working out.
Yeah.
Because it really did work out. It's like better than I could have even imagined.
Yeah. Well, I just think about like, especially when you haven't done something like that in a while, like how important it is for everyone's soul. Because you could see that. You could just see like, it was like a heart chakra weekend. That's what it felt like. It felt like we were cracking open the heart chakra. There was like, Maddie had organized, she led a yoga class, and her friend Claudia led a yoga class. There was sound healing there. There was like things that we were doing to prepare for a big experience and to integrate a big experience and to have a big experience. But like, I just kept having flashes of like how much everyone needs something like that, whatever their flavor is. But just putting yourself out there type of challenges in your life, you know? And I think like for us, like doing this podcast is us putting ourselves out there. Like we're kind of shy and introverted people.
Yep.
And I don't know if people would realize that by just listening to us, but then like we go to an event like this and it's like, oh God, the only reason I can go to an event like this is because I feel like people already know me and it'll be kind of easy and quick to make friends. But you end up having to put yourself out there in one way or another.
It's a beautiful thing though, you know?
Yeah.
To come and like contribute to the vibe in whatever way it is. Like so many people either like shared so much weed or Jasmine brought all this art and stuff to play with, or Lauren we made bracelets. So I'm not even wearing mine. It's over there somewhere. But it was really fun, and like glow sticks and, you know, stuff that I didn't like. I'm grateful that I didn't think too hard about like, oh my God, we need glow sticks. It's like, it was perfect. Lauren brought glow sticks. We had glow sticks.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, when you overdo it like that, it's almost like you're not allowing other people to bring their flavor. Like it's like, oh, Cass got it, and like then people maybe don't want to add to the vibe as much because they think maybe you have the vibe, and
yeah.
you know, and
I don't know.
It's good for them and it's good for you. It's just like, you know,
yeah,
delegating.
Haley brought tattoos, which I have my new favorite tattoo that I just wish it was permanent.
Mine
now.
came off. I wish it was permanent too. I had a silly little twisted choker on my neck.
But also like I think what's really fun about coming together in this group of people who don't already know each other is just like trusting that the perfect people are going to come together in a perfect way, and if we didn't have any one thing, it would have been fine. Like we said from the beginning on the podcast, and we felt like there's really no way to not have a great time. Like if you don't have a good time, it's kind of on you. You know, you don't need this thing or that thing or whatever it is. Like it's a beautiful space with beautiful people.
Plenty of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed up like mad early too. We got there like the thing didn't even really start till Friday. We showed up Wednesday, got set up, had the best time.
How about my panic attack when we arrived?
Oh yeah, we showed up, and like the reason we showed up is because we hadn't reserved a spot. And so we were like, we have to get a good one. And the only way to do that is to show up a day early. So we showed up a day or two early or whatever. And we get there and we realized quickly we weren't going to get to choose. They were going to just bring us to a spot. And they brought us to a spot and they're like, all right, here's your spot. And they dropped us off next to like, God, there was like 14 people in this whole fucking place. And they put us right next to people that had a gigantic speaker set up and were just blasting EDM.
Yeah.
And, we're like, can barely hear ourselves think, let alone hear each other talk. And we're trying to set up like, okay, we'll be here and we'll put Jasmine and Steve over here. And maybe Lauren can be here in our cars. And like I just look over at you and you're like, you look like you're about to start crying. And I'm like, what's wrong? And you're like, I don't know. I want a better spot, I think.
Well, I just like was like, I need to go in the car and just not hear this for a second. Like
yeah.
I can't even think.
And I'm like,
so
if we're doing that within 5 minutes of getting here, like 5 days from now, we're going to feel like fucking shit. So let's go do something about this. And thank God you're willing to like go.
Be annoying.
Kind of. I don't even know what to call
I wasn't
it. Just hold a standard. Just holding a standard. And you're like, we just drove back up to the front and you're like, that's not going to work for me.
No, I didn't say that. I said,
I don't know what you said.
I made it up. I was like, we have a friend who's camping here who doesn't want to be in the war zone. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be quiet. Don't worry. They'll turn it down at some point or whatever. We're getting more serious about that. I was like, okay. So, but I did see another spot that was open. Can we be there? And he's like, yeah, sure. If it's not. So It worked out perfectly. We got very lucky.
Yeah, we
But
got
there's
one of the
something-
best spots in the whole place.
It does feel like there's like a balance between everything's perfect and also being like, okay, I can make this better with a little attention and dancing with the tiger a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything perfect doesn't mean you have to submit to whatever the reality is.
Not always.
Not always. You can
Yeah.
accept it, but you can be creative.
You can perfect things.
I
think that's all you were doing. I think like you were like, look, you knew we were going to be responsible for at least.
I also
4
didn't
other
get
people.
here a day early to be next to someone who is blasting EDM. And
Yeah.
like I can't even get through tonight. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know there are other campsites. Like I just know that this is not what needs to happen.
We don't have to settle for this.
No. Definitely
And
not.
you were like, you got us the honestly one of the best camp
think we
spots
might
in
get
the
that one
whole
again.
place. Yeah, we might go back for this exact same camp spot.
Yeah.
It's like it just backs up right to the quarry, and it's one of the only places that just goes down and has its own like place right on the quarry. So that's where we were like meditating and doing art and doing yoga classes and just like chilling, smoking, hanging out, having come-ups. We were having a good ass time down there, and like I'm like, wow, this would have been completely different had we been somewhere else. So I don't know. We showed up mad early, and our friends Jasmine and Steve, who we first met at Space Camp 3 years ago, came all the way out from St. Louis for this. Shout out to them. That was so incredibly cool. And we camped with them, and our new friend Lauren, who came out by herself, incredible human being, fellow pothead, which was really cool for me because I was like, oh.
Yeah, we were all in the same wave as far as drugs and stuff.
Yeah, we're like, we're here. This is like it just felt like everyone at the entire place, not just our group, everyone at the entire place was very cognizant of like, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
We are in the peak of summer, at the peak of places, the best music, the weather, everything. It was just like, it's perfect. This is time. If we're going to party, this is the time to do it. Nobody was resistant to that. I could feel that in the air.
Totally.
Yeah. Jasmine and Steve had their space case. They just have like, this is a smart idea.
We need a space case.
We need a space case. We do this, but we do it in other ways. I have more of like a mojo bag that's substances.
It's like a Chilcagwe. And
Yeah, exactly. But their space case is like interactive things that you can take out and like, oh, play with this thing. Here's a kendama. Here's this little ball, a little thing that you can like put on your head or your back or massage. It's just like very interactive stuff.
Yeah.
So that was very generous. That was a really sweet offering. And our other roommate, Lauren, was just so sweet. She had never camped before. So to me, she was kind of like the muse. Like I think we're both really good at that. It's like, oh, someone that might need a little extra. I don't even know if she needed a little extra.
She was
attention.
more prepared than us.
She was probably more prepared than us. She handled it probably better than us. But like,
you were remember the Tanukis? You were so scared.
I was so scared. Yeah,
the first night, the raccoons came upon us from every angle.
Yeah,
I think once more people arrive, like
they get scared.
They get lost.
Yeah.
But we were like the one campsite, and it felt like a Tanuki was. A raccoon was coming at us from every angle.
We call them Tanukis just to make it like just kind of fun and silly. But yeah. It was cool. It was good. Like it's good for me to have at least a few people like Lauren who I'm like, okay, they really put themselves out there to get here. Like they're going to inspire me to like want to do this right and like, go hard in my ways.
It's so funny because our buddy Taylor, who came out, a new friend, he was saying to us on the last day, he's like, I was pretty nervous about coming out here. Like, I didn't know if you guys were like a death cult or something. And I was like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Like he's saying that, and I'm like, oh, it sounds crazy, but it's like, it's actually not that crazy. You know what I mean?
I don't even know what a death cult is exactly.
Me neither. And I'm like, I don't know.
Like,
isn't being a human being part of a death cult?
And I was like, we are part of the death cult. Like, I was kind of being playful at that point, but yeah, no.
But you're like, actually, that's not that bad of an idea.
But I think what we've trusted because we've been putting ourselves out there for so many years now is that we can't seem to help but find the coolest people, the chillest people, because like that's our priority, and then you meet other people who that's their priority, and it's like, oh, here we are together finally at last.
Yeah. Well, it's like they find us, and it's cool because I feel like we're all in service to a vibration that's really hard to describe, but like when you're immersed in it, you're like, this is life. This is what it's all about. This feels more natural than anything else that we could possibly convince ourselves feels more natural than this. This is what it's all about. And when people like that get together, like I've seen this happen before, but it was really happening this weekend. Like our group was so on the same page. There was like 25 of us, I think you counted. And we were just like vibrating at a certain frequency that it was pulling in other people.
Yeah, that was
and
really
to
fun.
me, that was like that was one of my like little secret intentions. I'm like, we should organically expand our group by just being so cool. And it happened. I think what helped a lot is the Cincinnati crew that showed up. Shanti, Autumn, and Ryan. Shanti was already a homie, the fucking best. And new friends, Autumn and Ryan, showed up, and they all were really good with music. I mean, just thank fucking God. We had just sweet little troubadours with us the whole time. Shanti would just like, he kept it going the whole time.
They took his ukulele out to the rock in the middle of the quarry.
We swam with a ukulele.
Well,
because
Steve had a floaty.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and there's a little place in the quarry where like there's a rock that's like it's not an island, it's just like a rock that's like higher, and you can kind of sit on it and gather around it, but you have to swim out to it. And we swam out there with the ukulele, and he played Ripple, and strangers started singing with us. It was like really fucking beautiful and emotional. And yeah, I think that was what was kind of like a secret goal that I thought would take the whole time to pay off, and it was just like literally fucking firing on all cylinders right away. Like we were making new friends everywhere we went, and I think that's why it's so cool to put yourself out there and go to those things, because it pays dividends. It really does, because it's like Homeboy said, like Taylor said, like I was kind of nervous to come here. I think Lauren said that too.
How could you not be? I mean, we were.
Well, they don't seem nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, you were nervous? And then I'm like, wait, was I nervous? Am I nervous?
Am I nervous?
What's going on?
No, totally. If we had had more time to think about it, we would have gotten nervous.
Yeah, we were too busy partying nonstop.
I think you held the vibe of not being nervous, and I joined you there, because you just kept being like, it's gonna be fine. I was like, I didn't reserve our spot. You're like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Whatever it is, it's gonna be perfect. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, it always is.
Yeah, it was.
It always is. Like you said, like the perfect people showed up and the perfect people didn't show up.
Not that we wouldn't. Obviously, if everyone had come, it would have been amazing. But it's
but like it's kind of crazy that we keep doing this, and it's like, oh, here's the new class.
It does.
And
feel
like some people from the last class hang out and help us, do the new initiation.
It does feel like that.
Yeah.
Like our buddy Zeph, who was. I had big noob energy at the first space camp that he came to.
Yeah.
Like,
and
okay,
that was 4 years ago.
Like we're dosing him for the first time. It's a huge experience for him. Like he's very young, like this is, and it just feels like there's a hallmark of like these space camp gatherings that there are people like really dosing for the first time.
Yeah.
And that we're offering that safe container.
Yeah.
Because we're responsible people who aren't looking to overdose people and are looking to look out for each other, and think that this is like valuable to have a safe, chill container to explore these realms. But of course, Zeph comes to this
4
one.
years later, now he's like elder council, like
now he's
decked out in all Grateful Dead shit. Knows that, like he didn't even know the Grateful Dead when we first did Space Camp.
Really?
Zeph, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's like became a Deadhead off that first Space Camp experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember he came with like I was so worried about him the first Space Camp because he just like came with a hammock and it was like very cold.
Yeah.
And now it's like, now I don't have to worry about him at all. He comes with his awesome girlfriend Annie, and they're out exploring. They brought their own drugs. They're having a great time. They're like, and then you see like a new class of kids are like coming, and you're like, freshmen. Oh, the freshmen. You're like, oh, I know. In like 2 years from now, you're gonna be like bringing someone else and holding down the vibe, and I'm barely gonna see you. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you really have to. You have to take it in while they are like the freshmen. You have to really be like, hey man, this is it. Like, this is what's like. And I kept telling everybody, everyone kept saying, let's do this again next year. Let's come to this festival. I was like, let's do it. But everybody bring like 3 new homies. Don't put it all on us. We don't have that big of a reach.
Well, yeah, it isn't all on us. Cause like we met our neighbors when we got in, our neighbors are playing Ween and we're like, oh yes.
Tear for Eddie's just blaring out through the woods. And we're like, they're going to be cool.
And then we meet Margaret, who lives, 20, 30 minutes from us in New York, which is so crazy. And we'll hang out with her soon. And like, I don't know. You just kind of, you gotta put yourself out there in Trustfall to make anything happen,
Yeah. This felt like a kind of like a feed the tree weekend, like when we were filming Wild Magic and that guy was like, oh, I go and I feed the mother tree of this forest, and I feed it and I sing to it and I do what I have to do to charge it up, because when you do that, the whole forest lights up. You don't have to go around to each individual thing. And like, that's what I felt like I was doing. At least I was like, oh, this is like making my mycelium stronger and more connected. And this is like, I don't know. It just felt like that's what I was doing for myself on that journey. And like you were saying, like probably one of our best Molly trips.
Yeah, it was a great Molly trip. I mean, we had a couple amazing days, like, dosing and getting stoned, a little acid, a
good amount of acid, a lot of weed.
But it was all like culminating towards like a Molly experience.
Yeah, we all knew. Everyone knew, like, hey, like Saturday night, we're going to try to do a group activation.
We're going to like, blast out our love light. And it couldn't have timed out.
Turn on your love light.
Sometimes I think like, oh, we should be more structured about the timing, but it all works out. It's all fine. Like, it was so perfect.
Well, you set a goal and know that it's probably not going to happen for a couple hours after that. My goal was 4:20, and I think we actually took it at like 5:30.
That was pretty good, though.
It's not that bad.
But
to wrangle that many people.
Not everyone took it, which is also beautiful. Some people were like, I'm going to do mushrooms. And it's like, great, enjoy mushrooms.
You do you.
You do you. Enjoy yourself.
Be your own shaman.
But a lot of us took Molly, which was awesome. And we took it, and then Griff takes us on this nature walk, hike thing that...
Yeah, I think this was important. And I think it's very important if you're going to do activations at a festival and like try to do it with a big group of people. Like, we all took it. Very tempting to just melt into the campsite for a while.
Yeah.
But I think we all would have had mental health issues had we done that.
I don't know about that, but there would have been a lot of like, is it hitting me? What does this mean?
That's mental health issues. Yes. Sitting there with a group of 20 people like, do you feel it? Are they acting weird? Am I weird? Is something going on? Do I feel it yet? Did I not take enough? Should I take more? Did I take too much? I'm sweating. I'm going to puke. Like, trust me. I know it. I've done it. I've done it. So we dropped it. And Griff was like, I'll take us on a nature walk. And it sounded to me insane. I was just like, how are we going to wrangle all these people? And just something, it just magically like came together. Perfect, cool. Just took the Molly and started walking. And we're like deep down in the forest, in the state park outside of Nelson Ledges.
Yeah, like in caves.
And it like hits us all.
Yeah.
And Shanti's there with the ukulele.
We're all touching trees and kissing trees.
Kissing
Claudia's
trees,
like being
touching
like, breathe with this,
It was insane. Take that stuff and touch a tree.
Yeah.
It's insane. The communication that's going on. Like, you can tap into what a tree's feeling and what a tree's all about. And like, holy shit. And just what a beautiful way to like have a group come up. They're literally, in my life, could be no better way to do that.
Yeah, we're all in nature.
Yeah.
Like way far away from music or technology or anything.
Can't hear anything, see anyone.
We're in this like cave.
The sound is like cocooned, like what we were talking about at the beginning.
And we all have like little natural places to sit and hang out and be on moss and everything.
Yeah.
And then Shanti's there with the ukulele. Like, oh God, it was so awesome.
Yeah. And necessary to kind of be away from all of the craziness, because it's very stimulating.
Yeah, your heart is just like...
Your heart is like... And then it's like...
And I always get nervous because, like, I'm dosing people. I'm like, okay, did I make sure I measured this right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so when I felt it right, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I was like, okay.
Cass, isn't that a huge fucking... Isn't that like that? That's a moment I don't... Because you're the one physically doing the like, okay, I put the same amount in everything, and like... I have that same feeling, but it's just like, I just hope everyone has a good time.
I've done this so many times, and it's gone well every time, that I should be more confident, but you're always kind of holding your breath a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit.
You're looking around at everyone.
Because I don't want people being like, I don't feel it, and then being like, okay, well, do I double dose you? Do I give you half dose? Like, how do I help you?
You tell them to breathe.
No, but you know how it is. Some people,
yeah,
everyone's different,
Yeah,
whatever.
totally. You're like You're like a chef who just put out a beautiful gourmet meal and everyone's eating on it, and you're just like shifty-eyed looking around trying to catch everyone's, just make sure everyone is
Well,
cool.
being
Does
on that-
everyone like it? Everyone like it? Okay. And then it was very clear. It was like everyone fucking loves it.
Yeah, I didn't even have time to think because I was just enjoying going for the walk.
Yeah.
And then once we got to the place and I felt it and I looked around and I was like, oh, we're all just like being quiet and look happy. I'm like, we're all good.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
And it was so beautiful, and people were just like, it was very visceral. Like when it first is hitting you, it's just like a very visceral, like, hey, you're rad, and like hugging each other, and people just getting to know each other a little bit better. And it was like, it was so chill. And I can only speak to my experience. I was like, fuck yeah. Like we started walking back, and I was like, fuck yeah, we slayed that come up. Everybody is feeling it. We can now slowly go towards more stimulation. We'll go back to the camping area, and then we'll slowly make our way into like the festival area, and it'll be the perfect amount. And I was just like, we killed it. We did it. This is amazing. And anyone that was talking to me was being so nice. They were being so sweet and being like, hey, I haven't got a chance to say this to you yet, but like your words mean a lot to me, man. I appreciate you putting the podcast out. And like I'm always like, yep, yeah, cool, yeah, awesome, yeah, right on. We're friends. Don't worry about all that. But it was hitting me. Like we got back to the campsite, and like I then fucking 2 hours into this, I got my own like specially designed for me come up. And like I was saying at the beginning, I don't go through my life like in a tornado of thoughts or like in a fucking constant battle to like keep shit on the rails and not give over to the negative. Like it's pretty mellow in there. And this I just started experiencing based on on a positive thing, compliments. I started just like kind of feeling like kind of the impact any human being has. Shit that like you just try not to think about and just do your work and keep your head down and do your work and do your work. And I just was having like a moment of just like, whoa, God, what the heck is going on? Oh, like this, like.
Well, we had a hammock set up in the perfect spot
Yeah.
where you could hear the music down the way, and.
Oh man, it was just right on the quarry. I just had a hammock set up. I just laid in the hammock. The band started playing, and the quarry carried the sound perfectly.
Yeah.
So I'm just like listening to all my favorite Grateful Dead songs. I was like, whew. But it took me a solid hour to kind of get thy bearings.
Oh, I was having a blast. I always have a blast of it.
Well, it was making me feel so much better because you would come visit me like every 20 minutes and be like, here, oh, yeah, so-and-so wanted you to have a sip off this joint, and here's a banana, here's some water, how are you doing? And I would be like, is everyone okay? Are they mad at me? Is anyone upset? And you'd be like, they're having the fucking time of their life right now. I'm like, oh, okay. And like that offered me enough solace that it was therapeutic. I laid there for an hour, and like the first 20 minutes was like static, just insane, like other people's thoughts, too much of an empath, like type of things, thinking about other people's narratives, their insecurities, that kind of stuff. And then like it settled down. I got it to settle down, and then I started like thinking about our life in a very beautiful and grateful way. And like to me, that was my trip. Was like that hour of just like sitting there and being like, yeah.
Well, it's
we got this.
Nice being 36 and 43, and like at a certain point where we're also like very chill with each other, and
like it's all good. We don't need to be like, I'm sorry, right?
Or even just
there was
like,
no moments like that,
or just like even on top of each other or needing anything. Yeah. And I kind of feel like that extends out into like the vibe that we want it to be. Is like we're all awesome, self-sufficient people who are everything's okay, and I'm trying to get into the place of like not worrying about people in the sense of because they don't need me to worry about them as much as because I worry about them, and then I'm like, oh, they need help, but I'm like, they don't need help. They're like, not that I don't try to take care of people in any moment like you do too, and like any good decent human does, but there's a level where you could think that someone needs help where they don't need the help that you think they do. Like people are very competent and capable and strong.
And don't take away from them that moment that you've had so many times.
Yeah.
Where you got yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Where no one threw you a life raft. You fucking learned how to tread water.
Yeah.
And like how valuable that's been for us. And it's so tempting. Trust me. I was stuck in this headspace the whole time of just like my people. I kept being like, is Lauren okay? Is Taylor okay? That was like my weekend of just like, I want to make sure they're doing great.
Because other people came with like a buddy or something.
Or they had more experience,
Or they had more experience,
just whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Those were my muses. Like you can't judge a man. I chose who I needed to. I thought pay particular attention to. And again, this is not based on anything they asked me or even particularly anything I felt off of them. It was just the circumstance of like, damn, you came here on your own. You drove like 3 hours to fucking get here. Fuck yeah, you've never been to a festival.
I'll feel like a dick if you don't drink enough water, so I'm going to annoy you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be telling you to drink water this whole time.
Well, I loved that Taylor had worn sunblock every day, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly. It's little shit like that.
Little shit. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're adults here. We know how to not get burnt to a crisp. But
I got burnt to a crisp on the
You got
last
burnt
day.
to a crisp on the last
First
day.
time in years.
Okay,
I've done
one
something
of
like
the
that.
best moments, though, for real, is when I hope he doesn't. I'm sure you don't mind me saying this, Taylor, but Taylor hadn't eaten like a banana. Really, he's like, I don't like bananas. I can't remember when or why I don't like bananas, but
He's like, I've never had one in my life.
or can't remember if I have, but I just have this idea that I don't like them,
Yeah.
and that I don't like fruit, and
No, it's a known thing in his family.
that he doesn't like fruit.
Like that he doesn't eat fruit, but like in particular he doesn't like bananas.
Yeah, and he was.
And I had just like my instinct. Literally, I got up from the hammock. I went straight to the car, got a banana. That was my first order of business when I came out of my headspace. I was like, banana to Taylor. I just put it in his hand, and he looked at it like I had handed him a loaded gun. The look of shock of just like, what do you want me to do with this? And it was honestly one of like the great moments of joy that I had the whole weekend, this whole summer. Was just kind of seeing him be like, fuck it.
No, he literally was like, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna have a banana.
Yeah.
And then we just all watched him eat a banana, and
Yeah.
he was like, it's okay.
Yeah. He's like, it's not what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how it is.
I mean, what a better way to like do on Molly, like a little healing ceremony around your aversion of fruit or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Just the resistance, the things, because it's
the
just
patterns
like,
too.
the patterns. And what I realized so much in talking to so many people, even outside of our group this weekend, is how many of the patterns are constructed of insecurities. And it takes all of 3 seconds of talking to somebody, especially on drugs, when you're like, oh man, your patterns are based on fucking such negative fucking self-talk. Like, how do we switch that? You know? How do we make for a better inner experience for you? How do we use this time to imbue yourselves with the feeling that they're forgiven and it's cool and there's nothing to be ashamed of and that you deserve more?
Yeah, I truly, really believe in the power of MDMA, and I'm very grateful for it. And I want to share it, you know, in a responsible way. But I do feel like it's helped me so much, and it does help me so much. And now what do we do it like once a year?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, so super responsibly, super intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it is kind of the perfect thing to do with a group. Like, doing a good dose of acid with a group is awesome and powerful, but, like, it's a little much in my experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we had some buddies, like, I think Haley and Jordan were like, yeah, we haven't really done a big acid trip. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give you some. You guys should just do it alone. You know what I mean? They're like, you should get an Airbnb or with a couple other people, and like not at a festival where you could get like lost, you know?
Yeah, a big acid trip.
Yeah, totally.
A little acid though. It's just gonna help you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, I certainly believe in it too, and I believe in its power, and I believe in protecting the sanctity of it, if that makes sense. I don't want to sound like conceited saying that, but like it's important medicine and it should get out to the people.
Well, and I think it should.
And you shouldn't be doing it for fucking money. I'm sorry. Like, you know, yes, there's going to be great legalization stuff and this and that, but like,
well, people
need this medicine. And we didn't exchange any money with anyone this whole weekend. And I think there's something very pure about that. We didn't accept any money for anything. And we put a lot of money out there. And that's our way of giving back. But it's also our way of protecting the sanctity of this medicine.
Well, it's what we're able to offer, but we're also
Yeah.
like people have a lot of trauma to work through and could use like a therapist and do it in a safe container, and it's what's right for different people, and there can be an exchange of whatever to do that. But
Of course, yeah. If you're taking someone's time and it's a very personal, it's a therapeutic thing, but like that like I don't want there to be a dynamic with the people that come to these things. You know what I mean? I don't want there to be any kind of dynamic with us. Like, hey, we're in charge here, or like, this is our business, this is our livelihood, or you owe us, or we've put a lot out there. I just don't want there to be any dynamic whatsoever.
Well,
I
that's
just
why
want
we
it to be
do it.
friends.
Well, that's why I didn't even reserve like next year I'm like, okay, I'll reserve a campsite and you can just pay me what I paid for your ticket. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I was like, this year I was like, I don't even want to do that. I don't want to have any sort of tie to whether or not you go or don't go.
This was like, hey, meet us at this place. There's a festival going on where they're just going to be doing Grateful Dead music. It's $100.
It was $130 for a 3 to 4 for Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
And camping.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So it's just like, you figure that shit out if you want to go. But yeah, like, I like kind of, yeah, there's a whole world of like, there's a whole cottage industry forming around these experiences now. And good for those people that know how to capitalize and do all that shit. Like, we don't care to do that, and I don't think we'd be good at it. So we try to do these kind of things. And somebody was trying to give us something, and I said, it was a new person that didn't even know about us. I said, pay with attention. Go, if you would watch one of my movies, that would mean a lot more to me than $10 right now, or whatever you're trying to give me. You know, go watch one of my movies, listen to one of our podcasts or whatever. Like, that to me means much more to me than any kind of monetary exchange, because it's just also fucking temporary. And what really matters in this life is the connections you make with other people, and the way that you can see and embrace humanity. I think that's what really matters. And I can only speak towards young men, but I assume all young people and the people in the generations behind us. But this just might be the plight of humanity, is just doing everything you can to fucking prevent barnacles of cynicism and closed-heartedness from like forming on you, because they're just going to slow you down. And when you talk to people and you hear and you can feel that a lot of their story about themselves is based on insecurities and fears and what other people might think. No one even knows what other people think. You're afraid and you're holding yourself back based on what they might think. You know, you start to realize this shit. You're like, that is the mission as you are growing up, is to not get angry and to not get embittered and to not close your heart, because you're going to have fucking weird relationships. You're going to have weird friendships. You're going to have weird jobs. You're going to get fired. You're going to break up. There's going to be heartbreak. People are going to die. People are going to overdose. People are going to disappear from your life for no apparent reason. All these things are very tender, sensitive things. And they happen to all of us, and they're going to happen to all of us. But the goal is, and the mission is to keep from hardening and overly identifying with the tragedies of life, because life is not a tragedy. It's really not. It really does not have to be that way. And I think the more time you spend with other people, the more time you're spending outside of your own little story that you have constructed for yourself. And when I spend time with other people, I know immediately what it does to me. I go from selfish guy that's like, when can I have sex with Cass again, to who are my muses? What are my acts of service today? That's how I spent this whole weekend. I wasn't being a perv.
No, you weren't.
I wasn't up in your shit.
You weren't.
I left it. Yeah, you were up in my shit a little bit, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to get into it, but you know what I mean? I was like, I get around that many people and you inherently become less selfish.
Yeah.
I wake up thinking, oh, are they okay? Did Jasmine and Steve get enough sleep last night? Is there anything I can do for this person? Oh, I know that person loves their coffee. Like, maybe there's something I could do to help facilitate that. But like, so quickly my life becomes about acts of service. And I think that happens for a lot of people at these festivals and these gatherings and burns and regional burns and Burning Mans. And That's why people come out of it feeling so recharged if you did it right. You know, if you turned your psyche away from the story about how you're a shithead and just fucking stopped the nonsense and just start serving people, you realize like how necessary that is, how inherent to who we are that is, and how much it's kind of been pulled out of, you know, our day-to-day lives. And it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate to kind of like, you know, you try to get, you get to know people and you see, like, I can see that they're an angel, a bright shining star in this universe, but they don't think that about themselves. And it's like, fuck, I don't know what I can do other than provide a safe space and some MDMA for you to realize you're the fucking best. And, you know, there was a couple occasions where while we were on the MDMA, I started talking to people and, like, you know, recent breakup would come up. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, let's get it out. Let's do the thing, you know, vent it. And they couldn't even conjure up the anger that you know, the thing I'm telling them, just like, get it out. It's like the MDMA had like conquered that. So, you know, they're kind of like realizing how it doesn't affect them as much as they might think or as much as they've built up. I saw that happen with two different people, one in our group and one completely outside of our group. But like where it's like, all right, cool, I'll share a moment with you. I'm really good at listening. I'm really good at asking questions. And if I'm feeling like I got a wild hair up my ass, maybe I'll give a little advice. But I'm here to listen. And I would put it out there and they'd be like, she's actually cool. Like that was a relationship. We did relate. Yeah. Actually, I don't think I hate her. You know what I mean? It's like beautiful work. Beautiful. And yeah, it's a sacred thing. And to hold space, especially for my brothers, my young brothers, you know what I mean? Because I know how it is. I know how it is. It's crazy. It's crazy being a man in this world. It really is. It's very, very, very confusing. And I think a lot of what's been asked of men for the past 10 years, 20 years or so is to soften a lot. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. I think that's a beautiful message from women to men is like, yo, we need y'all to soften it down. Like the patriarchy's fucking crazy or whatever. And I am one of those people, and I love that. And I think it's truly, it's on us to do that. But at the same time, I think there's a baby gets thrown out with the bathwater type of thing. And so like you talk to these souls that are just feel like they're floating, and it's like, you know, like I feel like I'm good at like coming in with a like just hitting somebody with like, you know, awaken your divine masculine, start fucking making some bold choices in your life.
Well, there's like
start committing to some shit, start getting some fucking discipline, start doing some things that are good for you every fucking day, and until then don't complain to me. But yeah, say it.
yeah, no. There's like on all aspects of the spectrum. There's like, there's a spectrum of masculinity. There's like maybe the conquering aspects, like maybe more in the like lower vibration, and then like the discipline and decisive actions more in like the positive aspect of the spectrum.
Yeah. To be the ultimate daddy. You know, you gotta really, it takes discipline, it takes strength, you know, fortitude, you know, being your own man and like really being somebody that can be relied on and turned to. I think those are like the qualities we need to be striving for, not getting better at telling shitty stories about who we are.
Or the whore that wronged you.
Or the whore that wronged you, or the mess we're in, or this president fucked me, or this fucking, like, not.
Wasn't it funny to be on the beach and have, like, two major things happen while we were there?
Yeah. Major things were happening left and right, and I love that no one gave a fuck. Some lady just looks up at one point, and she's like, Biden just dropped out. And we were like, whoa. Anyway. It really was like that. That's fine with me. Probably the most, the best thing he's ever done in his career.
Yeah.
The best thing that Joe Biden has ever done in his fucking 50-plus year career of scamming people and fucking over working class people is dropping out of this fucking race. Just get the fuck out of the way, you old fucking warmonger, genocidal piece of shit. Just get the fuck out of here. That's the best thing he's ever done. Anyway, yeah, don't even want to go there. I could have gone there on the beach, but I was just kind of like, no, cool, awesome, moving on. I'm with my friends now. That shit doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was nice to like unplug for a bit. And I came back not tempted to plug back in. I mean, you get back into the circle a little bit, but you just also are like,
Yeah.
That's really that, having the spaciousness of just like being with people. Being the antidote to what I see as the bigger problems in the world.
Yeah.
You know, we need to come together. Okay, how can I come together? Okay, I'm coming together with new friends and neighbors and all this stuff, and we're, you know.
Yeah, the best way to subvert shitty ass dominant paradigms is just be cooler, be a better version, you know, be the antidote to that shit. And I think the best way to integrate experiences like that, well, first of all, do yourself a favor and have experiences like this. Put yourself out there. There's really no excuse. Oh, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in the scene. I'm too shy. I'm this and that. Guarantee you people shyer than you showed up. People from further away of a drive showed up. And I'm not saying you have to show up to one of our things. Just go put yourself out there. Go. You have to put yourself out there. And I'm saying this because I need to hear it because I'm such a fucking introvert. And I'm like, oh, how do I integrate this thing? Like, I got so charged up from that. I'm like, the way to integrate it is to keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Keep carrying the torch forward. Keep staying connected. Keep putting myself out there. Keep socializing. Keep meeting new people. And that's what we went in there praying for. And I think it worked out.
It was great.
Yeah. Should we hop over?
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
We're gonna portal over to another dimension called patreon.com/Church of Chill. So we'll be chilling in the church.
Yeah. There will be an afterglow to this episode where we just keep it going. It usually gets a little looser.
A little more spicy.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, good times.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. It means a lot to us that it seems like more and more people keep listening and spreading the word.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's really rad.
Very grateful for you guys. Thanks for everyone who came. Thanks for coming. And if you're thinking about coming next time we do something, definitely do. And
yeah, the best way to know when we're doing stuff like this is be on our Patreon and the Discord.
Yeah.
The Discord comes with the Patreon. So patreon.com/Church of Chill. It's like $2. It's only going to be $2 for a little bit more. So be one of these people that gets grandfathered in at $2 because I think we got to raise the price.
Whatever. We'll figure it out. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Peace and love.
Peace,
and
love,
magic.
and magic. See you on the other side.
See you shortly.
See you over there.